Hey, y'all. On this episode of your Travel Bestie Cat, I had a great conversation with Brad Allen about how voice, radio, and storytelling bring communities together. So join us and like, follow, and share this podcast with your friends. Your Travel Bestie Cat is so excited to talk to Brad Allen and thank him so much for joining us today. So say hi, y'all.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. Friday, the weekend is almost here.
Yes, it's Friday. I'm so excited. I'm curious, what's your typical day look like in your role as the production manager with the radio and everything, and how you got
Wow.
your first radio gig?
Yeah. Well, it's a very interesting question because I'll tell you, I've been doing this radio thing for, gosh, ever since I was a junior in high school. We won't say how long ago that was. But one of the things about radio in general, no matter what position that you are, whether you're on the air or the off the air or the programming or production or sales or engineering or promotions, et cetera, it's never a 9 to 5 day. It is very, it can be challenging, sometimes maybe a little aggravating. Certainly the hours can be long sometimes, but honestly, I mean, I've done every year. I mean, I've been the morning guy, I've been the midday, the afternoon, the night, the all night guy. I've been music director, program director, creative service guy, and of course now production director. And every job has its own challenges. But I'll be honest with you, there's nothing in the world that I'd rather do than what I've done. I've been blessed to be one of those people that, had an opportunity to actually do what I wanted to do, growing up. And
Awesome.
so, yeah, so a normal day, uh, it basically starts out with probably like most jobs, you start off with, checking your emails. I kind of do a prioritization list. Okay, are there any emergencies that day? Do we have any commercials missing, or something needs to be changed very quickly? So that goes to the top of the list. And then I sort of work the way down with, okay, what's priority two that we work that day? Do I have anybody coming in that's going to record a commercial? Do I have any meetings, et cetera, et cetera? And then once you kind of get your game plan set for the day, then you start to enact it and just work through. And, some days may end a little earlier and some days may go a little later. It just sort of depends on
Putting out fires, yeah.
Yeah, put out fires and how long, certain commercials take longer to put together than others and those type of things. So, I'm not on the air anymore. I kind of hung up the on-air shoes about 3 or 4 years ago, so I don't have an air shift anymore. Whereas before I was balancing the two between being on the air plus the production part. So that certainly I miss. There's a lot of being on the air part that I miss, but at the same time I sort of champion having those extra hours available during the day to put into production. So kind of in a nutshell, I guess that's pretty much, it's kind of like snowflakes. No two are ever alike. No 2 days are ever alike.
And would you say, radio is about storytelling? What makes a message or a story so memorable?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do, number one, with who's telling the story. Also what if they are involved in the story themselves. I think the biggest thing of all is how does it relate to the person or the people that you're actually telling the story to. One of the things I know, like for our on-air talent, we really try to strive to make everything local. And tie in so that people say, oh, driving down I-40, you know what, that just happened to me yesterday. They could really relate to that story, as opposed to something in a tabloid somewhere that, may catch your interest, but doesn't really have any local appeal to it. But if you can take that tabloid story and tie it in and say, well, the same thing happened here in Knoxville last year, yada, yada, yada. So I think a lot of it is tying it into a relatable message to the people that you're talking to and talking with.
Because voice is such a powerful connecting tool. And I know you made my ad for Cat's Perfect Getaways sound amazing, and I appreciate you. How do you feel like it connects us in the community? Because, travel connects cultures. Do you see that similarity between radio and travel and connecting all of us?
Oh, yeah. And again, I think it's like, you're sort of telling a story still. You're telling stories about, so and so called in yesterday, or I had a client come in the other day who just got back from the Bahamas, or got back from a cruise, or got back from a trip. As a matter of fact, Mark from our morning show on Star just left yesterday for Portugal. He's traveling to Portugal, him and his family. Obviously, they're on vacation next week, and so he'll come back with a bunch of stories to be able to relate to the audience when he's back on the air next week. So I think, and then like your commercials, which turned out awesome, and it was because of you, not me. They sound really
Well,
good.
you made me sound good.
I'm driving down the road and I'm hearing your commercial, and I said, man, I need to call Kat. That makes me really want to go, somewhere, anywhere to get away. And especially I think after, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and people sitting in their cars and they're listening to the radio and they hear your commercial come on and like, oh my gosh, that would be so wonderful to be able to go somewhere. Let me call Kat. I got to get that book. This was a rough day. This was a hard day at work. It's Monday, so I think that connection between being on the radio and delivering that kind of a message that you do with your commercials really resonates with people, and really I think really hits a button with people that are needing a getaway. Maybe not, they're not real sure exactly how to go about it. Well, Cat's your person.
Yes.
Cat is your connection.
And I love doing it too. It's so much fun hunting things down for people. Have you had any travel experiences that changed your perspective personally or professionally?
Well, I don't travel as much as I used to. I've got friends all over Florida, and I love to go down there and visit and go to different places. I've got radio friends and even some family in different places that we go to. My first cruise to the Bahamas was just amazing because you always hear all the stories about, oh, it's so beautiful, it's this, and you see the pictures. But as I'm sure you can attest better than anybody, the pictures are great, but they never do it justice as to be there and to just feel that warm air and that Bahamas air and just see the beauty and the waters and all the different colors. You really come back with a different perspective as opposed to what, video you saw somewhere or pictures you saw somewhere. I remember the first time I went on that cruise 3 years ago or so, and I just took in all of that. The view from the ship where you're out in the middle of nowhere and nothing but water, and then getting onto the island and experiencing the people. And like I said, just the environment and all of that was really eye-opening and changing for me in a way that I had never experienced before by watching videos and seeing pictures.
Yes. Until you see that water too, you never have a good feel on how gorgeous it can be.
Yeah.
Now,
It really is. And it's amazing how, and again, pictures just, really can't do it justice, how you see the color changes. It's hard to explain it, but like how it's a lighter blue, a darker blue, a sort of a greenish blue, an aqua blue, and you can just sort of see, depending on where you are, as you get closer to the islands and things like that, and you just start to look out, and it's like a picture, like a 3D picture, but it's real life, and you see those changes in the color of the waters. And to me, that amazed me. I'm like taking all these pictures, and I look back at the pictures, and they're great, but there's just nothing like being there.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you could broadcast live from anywhere in the world, where would you pick and why?
Ooh. Ooh. You know what? That's a really good question. I could definitely I could see me at a place like Princess Key or Celebration Key in a little hut in the sand overlooking the ocean, or maybe by the what is it they call the pool that you has the in pool bar where you can just hang
swim
out.
up bar.
You swim up bar. I wouldn't be able to actually be in the water with all the electronic parts, but I could certainly be next to it, or like I said, in that hut on an island in the Bahamas, and just making people so jealous who are listening to me as to where I am right now. And oh, by the way, I'm working as I do this broadcast here from this beautiful Bahama island. I think that would be amazing. Hawaii. And we actually have the company that owns our stations. We actually have a group of radio stations in Honolulu. And our guy there is like, yeah, I went out and, laid on the beach for a while. Then I came to work, and then.
Oh, yeah. He has it so rough.
Yeah. He's a great guy. And it's, I think to me, I'm such a tropical kind of guy. Any of those places like that, I think would just be amazing to, be able to broadcast back to. And I think also, when you're there and you're experiencing the people and the culture and the beauty of that place, wherever that place is, and to be able to broadcast that back to the audience, it might give them a little different perspective as well, as to just, again, going back to seeing it in pictures or hearing, other people talk about their experience, because I'm like, oh, I'm here right now. Oh, look, there's dolphins, those type of things. Might have people say, gosh, I really, you know what? We need to call Kat. We need to get something set up. I'm sitting here listening to Brad broadcast this, and it's really making me want to go. What's Kat's number?
Yeah. You've been in the radio world for forever, and I'm a new podcaster. And I know you said you haven't done a podcast, but you've listened to some, and you're recording this for one now. What do you think are some common mistakes new podcasters and new radio folks make when they're getting started?
I think one of the things, and it may not be quite as prevalent today as back all the years ago when I got in, but I think one of the things is you don't want to really be the star, so to speak. You want to be relatable. You want to just be one of the guys, one of the gals, hey, I'm not talking down to you, back when I got in radio, it's not that it was a bad thing, but it was one of those things where you're the radio star. So you're the guy, you're the king, you're, playing all the songs that you want to hear because I can, and now it's a lot more relatable. We just want to relate to people. We just say, hey, how are you today? And by the way, did you see that they're remodeling the Weigels over there on, Middlebrook? I'm not sure, just be, because people are going to hear that and they go, oh yeah, I just passed that a little while ago and noticed that. Or, sharing family experience. You don't want to obviously get too personal or technical, but oh, I remember when my kids were little and they went through this, and you're going to have parents out there that go, oh my gosh, my kids did the same thing. Or if I've got to, so you have that connection, have that relatability. I think maybe one of the mistakes that some people make early on is, not really trying to make the connection that, hey, I'm just one of you. I'm not, just because I'm the guy on the radio or the podcaster doing this, I'm doing this for you, and to be able to relate to you so that we have a connection, that's probably, speaking from, like I said, I don't have podcast experience, so I don't really can speak a lot about that. But as far as like radio goes, you want to pretend like you're really talking to one person, you hope it's not just one person, but you you want to pretend like you're. So we always try to stay away from, hey, everyone, or hey, hey, all of you, and just say, hey, you, hey, we're talking to you. So the listener thinks that you're just talking to them. You're just relating to them. You're making that one-on-one connection. People, I think, and again, not to belabor the point, but I think that if you're a podcaster, it's kind of the same thing. Let's just pretend that you're just talking to that one person that's on your podcast, or one person that's listening, and make that connection.
Authenticity is more important than perfection.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
What are some tips that entrepreneurs can instantly do to sound more professional on podcasts or on video?
I think, again, just be real, be yourself. Try to, again, just be relatable. The content that you're talking about, whatever it may be, kind of put yourself, even though you're the host, put yourself in that position of the person that's listening or watching, and say, what would they really want to hear? Do they want to really hear all, me, and I, or do they want to relate to something, whatever the situation is that they're watching or listening to, whether it maybe it's sports or news or weather or just whatever it may be. Kind of put yourself in their position. Okay, what would they like for me to say that's going to interest them? What would they like for me to show, or what would they like for me to say that's really going to interest them? That's not so much about me, but the reason that we're here. So just make it relatable. I think, understand that, they're there. They may not necessarily be there to see you, but whatever it is that you're bringing to the table. I think that would probably be one of the, again, I'm not a podcast expert, so I don't know, but to me, that seems like that would be one of the things. It could be kind of a turn off if it's just like, well, I, me, and then pretty soon they're like, well, okay, we get it.
Yeah. I got some fun rapid fire travel questions for you. Are you a window seat or an aisle guy?
Oh, I'm definitely windows. Definitely windows.
When you road trip, do you want a playlist, or are you going to be silent, or are you going to listen to an audiobook?
On a road trip?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, this is an interesting question. Do you want an immediate answer, or do you want a brief explanation?
Either one, whatever makes you happy.
So here's a quick funny story for you because of what I do. If I'm on a road trip, of course, obviously I love listening to the radio, and I'm a big music guy, but I will drive someone crazy who is with me as a passenger, or maybe they're driving, I'm the passenger. Because when I'm listening to a radio station, what do most people listening to a music radio station listen for? The music, entertainment, yeah. Of course, and the music. Well, being the commercial guy, I'm listening for commercials.
Yeah.
And as soon as a radio station goes back to playing music, I'm switching to another radio station who's playing commercials. And I get this look like, what are you doing? And I said, well, you have to remember what I do. I want to hear the commercials on these radio stations because that's what I do. Sure, I love the music. I'm a huge music person. I love music, and I have playlists, and I'll jam out to rock and pop, and I'm everything from AC/DC to Enya and all things in between, some jazz, and I'm a music kind of person. I play keyboards, all those things. But my interest is in the promos that the radio stations are playing, the imaging, the jingles, and certainly the commercials. And not only how the commercials sound, but how they place the commercials. Do they have a certain, like if they have commercials that have jingles, do they play those first? Do they play those last? Do they do the longer commercials first? Do they do the longer commercials last? Different radio stations have different ways. I'm listening because of what I do at commercial sets where most people are going, I wanted to hear the music. The commercials are fine. They're great. But why are you changing the station when they just got back into music? So I get weird looks when I'm in the car driving because, yes, as much as obviously, clearly, I love music, all types of music. I've got an ear listening for those commercials. And people, obviously, it's kind of funny when people say, "Oh, I don't want to hear commercials." Well, they kind of really do if the commercials are creative, because how many times have you seen people walk around quoting lines from commercials, singing commercial
all the
jingles?
time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when they tell you that they don't want to hear commercials, that's not true. They do. They just want to make sure that they're creative commercials, that they gather their attention, that they're something that's relatable to them. But in my case, because of what I do for a living, I'm listening to the commercial break like it's music.
That's your inspiration. Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So if
Yeah, that's
if
just.
if you were looking at a trip, are you a beach guy, a mountain guy, or city energy?
If this was one of those start, bench, cut kind of things, beach
Yes.
would definitely start without question. Beach. As much as I love our mountains here, and I was born here. I did live in Florida for a while, but I was born here. I love the mountains. I also love the beach. I've often said I was born and mostly raised and lived in the mountains, and I would maybe like to retire at the beach so I can have the best, beach for me would be first. Mountains I would bench mountains. And not that I have any, I love visiting cities. But I would have to probably put it third. I'd probably have to cut it just because I would love the other two more.
Right. If you thought about it, what's the best food you've ever had while you were traveling?
Ooh, that's a tough question because boy, I love food.
Same.
Well, I will tell you, and I wish I could remember the name of the place, but it's been a long time ago. I had some barbecue in Houston back many years ago at a little place that I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. It looked like it was about ready to fall down. It looked like one of those places that you would drive by and you would go, oof, yeah, I don't think so. But I had so many people who live in the area said, "Oh, you got to go to this barbecue place. It may not look like much, but it's the best barbecue you'll ever eat. Great people, very clean, all those things." And
Mm-hmm.
so I went, and sure enough, I looked at the building. I went, "Oh my goodness, these folks need some help. This poor little place is going to fall down. It's leaning." And I go in there, and I'm telling you what's the truth. That was to this day the best barbecue I ever had, and the people were so nice. It was that Texas BBQ. It was family owned, and I remember sitting down and I ordered the barbecue plate. And they came out with this massive tray with all these little dishes in the tray, and each one of them were different types of barbecue sauce. And I remember thinking I had to order more barbecue just to have enough barbecue to be able to sample all these different types of barbecue sauce that they had that they offered. I will never forget that barbecue experience on a trip to Houston one time. That was definitely top of the list. Had some great Mexican dishes in Texas, in Florida, in Mississippi. Yeah, it's the seafood. I'm a. It's kind of funny with seafood. I don't think about seafood much here as much, even though I really like it. But first place we go every time we go to a beach or a coast somewhere, got to find a seafood place. Big shrimp guy, and there's a little place in Pensacola, Florida. Again, I can't remember the name of these places. That had some of the best shrimp I've ever had. You sit right out on the beach, and they bring it to you, and you order it, and you can get whatever kind of shrimp you want. And it was just, I mean, it literally was like they just literally caught it that morning and put it on your plate. So those are some memories as far as food that comes to mind.
Yeah, anytime you can get it fresh, or as a Texan, if you can find a hole in a wall barbecue joint, you should definitely go. Okay, so my
Yes.
favorite question for you to end with was, what advice would you give someone afraid to put their voice out there into the world, whether it was doing a podcast or a vlog or anything like that?
Well, I think it it's probably not for everybody, I would say, like most things. I think some people would really enjoy sharing their life, being, out there more so than others. Like in radio, I've had people before that said, there's no way I could go on the radio. I just can't do it. And I said, well, you might, you don't know. It's not like you're standing on top of a stage with 10,000 people in front of you watching you. You're basically just in a room. They couldn't do it. And there's just no way they could, put themselves out there. And I understand it because like most things, it's not for everyone. But I think probably one of the things is like, if you have something that you'd like to share, if you have a good story, if you have a good product, or if you have a good, source, maybe you're doing some type of sports programming or something like that, give it a try. See, try not to, try it once and see how it goes. You might find out that, hey, this is not so bad after all. I'm not as tense. I'm not as scared. I'm not quite as frightful of the mic or of the video screen as I thought I was going to be. And actually, after I got into this, I started to find out I had more things to say that people were interested in than I originally thought. That might be one of the concerns with some people first starting out, is they feel like, well, I got nothing to say. I don't have any stories. I don't really have anything to share. But then after you start, you realize, oh, wow, I do. People are really liking this story that I'm telling about my kids or about my career or something like that. And next thing you know, you might find out that, you really can do it. So I think probably the advice I would have is just, give it a try, give it a shot. If you might find out that you might really like it. And if you don't, it's not something you have to keep continuing to do.
I think that's excellent advice, because you do just have to jump into it and don't be scared.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you sure do. It's kind of like swimming for the first time. It can be a little daunting and scary thinking about getting in deep water, but once you realize that, oh, this swimming thing is easy, this is fun, next thing you know, you're swimming every weekend.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Anytime, Kat. It's great to talk to you, and hopefully I'll see you back in the studio again soon. And
sounds good. Well, you have a beautiful Friday, and thanks again.
You as well, my friend. We'll talk to you later.